Okay, so here we are. We're back. Sorry about that interruption. All right. So the um, the idea of the demons is a three-way argument whether they are a complete something in the mind, whether they are a composite of like I think it was water, fire. I don't know which one, which composites, which one of the elements, not dust. Okay, air and fire or something like that. And another place said that no, they're actual entities. And there's many Gemorahs which go ahead and support that they're actual entities. But there was one passage in the Talmud which says that they were forbidden to be in civilized areas. And therefore, they were banned, and therefore they had to go underground. And this could be the reason why all these people have these experiences of entities under the ground. And a lot of kind of reasons, that we have. The best answer that I've heard, that seems to be the one that resonates to me the most true, in terms of all of the UFO sightings and the alien abductions and all that kind of weird stuff, as the Torah only gives two things: you're either an angel or you're a demon. If you're not a human, you're an angel or you're a demon. Now, to go into the demons and how they were created on the eve of Shabbos, we explained already, but basically it's a way that how God needed there to be elements, agents of free will, or agents that really will affect judgments. So demons are these entities, whether they're completely spiritual in the mind. You're going to see how they are in the later passages here, that they are involved in getting a person to have doubts about God or to affect punishments. They play tricks on people. They even whisper things in your ears. Things like that, we say, are a result of the demons. So whether they are real or not, but one thing you don't have to worry about it, is if you have mezuzahs on your door. And it does say, hey, listen, it brings down the very beginning of the Talmud, that a person should not go into a place, a building that was destroyed. One of the reasons is because of mazikim. It's another word for shadim, that will damage a person. I don't want to get much into it, but the idea here is they are agents which affect or participate or facilitate free will for a person. So now going on now in the story, okay, we have the place of the demons, and the demons really have no feet on their own because their feet are like chicken, and therefore they pull nourishment from Malchut, from the lowest of the 10 Sfirot. As we know, the feet of Malchut from Atzilut goes into Bria, where the forces of evil can draw nourishment from. Her feet, we have a famous phrase, her feet go down to death. Ragleha yoredes maves, which every single thing is about us and our generation, and we are the people of the limping feet. Okay? We are the generation of the lame. Just like Yaakov Avinu, before the final redemption came, was limping, so too we can consider ourselves and our generations severely as limping, but it's a good thing. Okay? That's a very good thing. So now to get to the point here, so we see that these entities take the force, the emuna of the moon, the feet of the moon, which represents emuna, meaning they blemish it. They cause damage to it. They don't want the tree to be watered, as you're going to see. So once again, it brings down in the footnote here that feet from this, that the forces of evil can gain nourishment. If a person gets too involved, that's where they can creep in and impart their influence to some degree. The foot represents faith, emuna. So it is therefore taught that a person should sell the beams of his house to buy shoes. That's an interesting one. Shoes are a very interesting thing, and I'm always intrigued. My father-in-law, Zichron Livracha, he was always also intrigued that when the brothers sold Joseph, they took the money, the 5 shekels and bought shoes with it because there was a sale at Payless. So in any case, no, it's not because it was sale at Payless. So here, obviously, they wanted to go ahead and give themselves an existence. They wanted to give themselves something to stand with. Shoes carry you into the future. So that's the idea. So therefore, here to go on in the note there on page 88, I do not would then be destroyed, as we're going to see later on. It appears that the problems of the moon is reflected in the cripple. Here's where we fuse the both of them together. The cripple and the moon are one. So it's almost as if when he touched that diamond and he was transported to the place where the sun and the moon are having this dialogue. So it's really, he's talking about himself. And really, we can understand this in terms of ourselves as well. Okay, let's just go a little bit more here, okay? See, here he says, Rabbi Nachman, quite simple. Rabbi Nachman taught that the blemish of the moon is the blemish of faith, which is an aspect of weak feet. So obviously we're understanding the Mashiach is having superpower in his feet, which means he has superpower emunah. Now, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How could you project that? Can you perceive that in any way? Because don't forget, every person has an element of the soul of the Mashiach within him, within his soul. So now a person can also, with that, get an idea that there is a place within a person's psyche, within a person's soul, where he can connect to the soul of the Mashiach that has superpower emunah. One of the recent ideas that I came out with, and it's still a construct for me, so I can't say it's for sure, but the word emunah, of course, means faith. It also means like amon, which means craft, like a craft tool. I also like to translate it as the power to believe. In other words, if a person would really utilize within his psyche to understand that if he believes in it, the power of his belief, it's in a holy way, because the highest idea is only to attach to the Ein Sof, to use it for holy purposes. But he has the powers of Emunah, can mamish take on anything or transform anything. The power, actually, Emunah or Malchut, is the power of total transformation. I think it brings that down in Inner Space by Rabbi Kaplan. Because it's the woman who takes a seed from the man and transforms it into a human being. King David takes a fragmented kingdom and unites it and turns it into something completely different. It's got a huge transformation principle in there that can actually turn something and twist it, like mold it like clay. Imagine if you could take reality that you would think would be a solid table and you could mold it into something else. You can't create something from nothing, because only Hashem does that. But the power of emunah that we can have, that we can harness to transform our lives, our destiny, and the world, that is really where our destination is lying. Okay? And we spoke about the powder, which once I'm going to try to figure out. Okay? But the weird thing is here that what kind of powder does the moon have? And then what is this wind that blows it away? And then the weird thing is, how is the moon ever going to be healed with the powder? The sun goes ahead and says, oh, I know a place. They got great powder there. It can heal you right away. Okay? You're wondering now the power. What is powder? I've got the powder. Okay, I've got it. That's the song now. I got the powder. Okay? So in any case, if there's a wind that comes and blows it away, how can the powder that the sun is telling the moon about heal him? It kind of strange, wouldn't you say? We're going to leave it off that right now. We're going to get into part 2 next time, because we have to go on in terms of when the ex-cripple is going to go to the place of these mountains. I'll leave you with something interesting that Rabbi, I don't want to leave you. I'm not going to do that. So, what do we cover today? The idea here is emuna and building emuna and accessing the emuna that is within us. To access the Messiah, the Mashiach, the soul of the Mashiach within us, would be to also access the power of emuna that we have. That means when things happen, whether up or down, that you have to be able to harness the power. The three main thoughts is this is what the Creator wants. Every single thing Hashem does is for the absolute best. And then, of course, this is only to bring me closer to God. So the idea we have to really incorporate these things and constantly drill it into our psyche. And then we can join then with the place where the sun and the moon meet, meaning our intellect and our emotions, because to get it in the emotional sense, to get it in the place where it's a conviction. It's one thing to believe it, but to believe it with a very deep conviction, that creates the powerful energy, that creates the angel that will lead us and guide us to our higher destiny. Okay, we will stop here with that, and I will leave it open for questions as soon as I shut this off and shut that off. Okay.